Okay, so for this, obviously, I don't have an audience. I have been homesick for the last about week since last Wednesday. I don't know what it was. I honestly don't. I'm just coming over it. But I did know that the due date for the speech was today. I wasn't able to get into work or school for the last week. I have been basically in bed for the last week sleeping, and let me tell you, it wasn't great to start off with. But I wasn't able to get anybody to come to my house. Obviously, like, they didn't want to get infected with the sick or whatever it was for the last week, and I obviously wasn't being able to go to school and present this in front of any of my classmates or teachers or anything. I had every intention to. I was going to do it on Thursday to just kind of give myself some time to work on other classwork these last few days, but obviously that did not work. So I make do with what I have when I have it. It is what it is. It happens. Hopefully it's okay. I mean, at points off, it's okay. Understandable. I totally get it. It happens. So here is my presentation about teachers and guns in the school. Since as of March 20th, there have been 6 school shootings in the year of 2018. According to the Sun article down in Florida, the deadliest so far this year was in Parkland, Florida, at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. This was on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Nicholas Cruz, the age of 19, he was identified as the shooter. He killed 17 of his classmates and teachers and faculty staff in his school and injured up to 50 others. According to Wikipedia, this was the world's deadliest school massacre. Also, according to Wikipedia, Cruz was walking purposefully towards the school with an AR-15 assault rifle in his bag, looking like he had a mission, and that's exactly what he had. After the shooting, our President Donald Trump was very silent about it for quite some time, until he brought up the idea that students or teachers should be mandated to carry guns in the school for protection of the students. Is that a safe solution? I beg to differ. Like, it is not. But some may, and that's understandable. I don't believe that guns in schools is a good solution because it's an uneasy feeling for the students in the classroom, and there's already been incidents involving teachers and students and teachers open firing and all that jazz. So, the uneasy feeling. A lot of questions arise when that is brought up. Will the teacher be prepared? Will the teacher even be there? Will the teacher be one of the 10 to 20%, according to Brookings.edu, that President Donald Trump wants trained? He only wants 10 to 20% of teachers trained in the school to have their permit to carry. I still don't see why that is going to help. Is that enough even? Like, what the shooter enters and the teacher has a little handgun, a pistol or whatever, Glock, I don't know what sorts of guns teachers are allowed to carry, and the shooter walks in with an AR-15 style assault rifle. What is that going to do? It's like a cow fighting a fly. It's not going to do much good. Another thing is, if they were to allow guns in classrooms, would it be allowed in preschool classrooms? These kids are 4 or 5 years old. They could get into the gun if the teacher isn't responsible and doesn't lock it up or anything. The student goes around looking through the desk area, or the teacher leaves it out. Student shoots his friend in the foot. That could happen, and that is frightening to think about. I personally am not a parent, but if I were a parent and my child was in a classroom with the teacher being armed, I would not feel safe. That's just my 2 cents. I have a lot of that in this speech, but I don't see why that needs to be a thing. What if it's a substitute teacher and the substitute teacher isn't trained? I mean, obviously they might try and plan ahead, but some schools might not have that many resources for substitute teachers, might not have that many substitute teachers with their permit to carry and able to get in the classroom the day that a teacher who is supposed to carry isn't there. According to a New York Times article online, they suggested that a smaller student to teacher ratio could be an issue, or could help, excuse me. I know a lot of people say that being nicer to students is the solution. That is not the solution. That is a step in the right direction, I do believe, but that is not the solution to ending school shootings. Smaller student-teacher ratios is also not the solution, but it is a step in the right direction, I believe, because that way students can feel more comfortable with the teachers, because the students so far that have attacked their schools with guns have not had very good relationships in the schools. That is just a reoccurring fact. It has happened. That is the statistics that we go off of when we try and make new plans for something like this. In Georgia, there was a teacher, Jesse Davidson, age of 53, who opened fire in his classroom. Something had set him over the edge. He was very unstable. He should have had his background checked. He had already had rifles removed from him 2 years prior to this incident in 2015, I believe it was. And he still had guns on him. Obviously, they weren't cleared out when they should have been. But that's in the past. There's no controlling that anymore, but it still happened. This Georgia school did allow teachers to carry guns for the safety of students. But when a teacher is sent over the edge, something like that happens. The one student was injured in this incident. He was running from the teacher and he slipped and fell and fractured his ankle. Luckily, nobody was shot, but still shots were fired in the classroom. The teacher then barricaded the door after the shooting to avoid any personnel trying to get in. I believe this is a solid excuse, solid reason to have really good background checks, really thorough background checks. It takes 20 minutes to get an AR-15 style assault rifle in most states in the US. They look up your name, any criminal record, nope, they're good to go. And granted, yeah, that is fine. But for some people, if they have a DUI, if they are a domestic abuser, if they are a sex offender, it only takes about a day for them to get a background check, and then they get the gun that they want. And I personally think that that is not right, that is not ethical, that should not be happening. Some people believe that teachers should carry guns. That is understandable, that is respectable, as long as my opinions are respected as well. That's how it goes. Some people believe that if the teacher is trained and qualified, it should be fine. That's understandable, believable. If the gun is locked away, it should be fine. Also understandable, and I can see why. I can absolutely see why. Only those who volunteer will carry, so the 10 to 20% has to be, the 10 to 20% of teachers that they want to carry the guns have to volunteer for it. So if you don't want to carry a gun in the classroom, it should be fine, right? That's what they're saying. The keys to the gun will be hidden away from students. Students are not to know about it, even though some might, and that's how it is. That's what happens. But students should not know where the keys are. Only superiors, it should only be up to superior knowledge about where the gun is and where the keys to the gun are. So in conclusion, school shootings are certainly inevitable. The guns, I believe, are no good for the classroom. Guns have no place in a classroom. Guns have a place in a shooting range. They have place hunting. You can have guns in your home if you'd like. I'm not saying that we need to ban guns, because that is a constitutional right. That is your Second Amendment. You get to have a gun if you fit the criteria to be able to have a gun. That's how I believe it should go. In classrooms, students feel unsafe because if students in their head, they should not be worrying about if their teacher is going to shoot at them if they make a behavioral mistake or an educational mistake. They should be worrying about their education in the classroom and behaving correctly in the classroom, and not worrying about a teacher shooting them or shooting just the classroom if something were to happen. Jesse Davidson was unstable and he was sent over the edge, and that caused him to open fire in the classroom. Guest teachers, student teachers, substitute teachers, my guess would be they feel uncomfortable in a classroom where there are guns. This is already an unknown environment for them. They don't know the people they're around. They don't know where they are. really. I mean, when I'm in a new place, I think I don't know where I am in comparison to this or this or this. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's certainly how I feel. So if I were a student teacher in a classroom that allowed guns, I would feel very uncomfortable where I am. I personally am going into the music education field. So I plan on being an orchestra director someday. And me knowing that some of my coworkers around the school that I work at in the future will be able to carry guns, that makes me feel very uneasy. I believe that makes for a hostile work and learning environment with students and faculty and teachers and anybody in the school. I definitely see people feeling unsafe where they are. I do not feel safe at all with that. But that is, like I said before, it's just my 2 cents. This is why I think teachers should not have to carry guns in the schools, and we should work to find other solutions and not just jump to the one that we think right away of after something like this happens. But then again, that is just my 2 cents. Thank you.